And on the bottom right, in the red, he is for Team Starcom. Massively overperforming and needs one more series to move on to the playoffs. It's Wayne.
And who they say gonna beat Lil Wayne? His name ain't big, but for the last 6 years or so, he's kept that flame on. It's for Basilisk, Serral.
So here's my question here, cats. In this series, how many Lil Wayne references can you scrape together?
Probably not that many. I'm not that big on rap, and most of them would be awfully explicit. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
That's fair.
Maybe
I mean,
the chat can help me out.
There we go.
If the chat types some good ones that I can sneak in there, you know, like if the chat prepares them for me, I'll check it out and I see if I can.
All right, so you know what to do. Give cats all the bad Lil Wayne jokes. But because, well, I think the bigger question here is whether our Bruce Wayne can turn himself into Batman and slay the Night King, because that is clearly two conflicting intellectual properties that are absolutely they're part of the same universe, right?
I thought people stopped calling him the Night King though after the season finale that everyone was.
Yeah, you get other ones, but I mean, if we're leaning into like fantasy comic book whatever, I mean, what the Finisher versus Batman, like Night King versus Batman. There we go.
Sounds good to me.
Although again, you need to evolve. So Pokemon often need like special objects to evolve, right? And Wayne,
I don't think, do they?
Yeah, like Pikachu needs.
I think they can use.
Like it depends. Like Pikachu, I think needs like a Moonstone or something to turn into Raichu. And Wayne was Rattata before he moved on into Wayne. So what does Wayne need to evolve into Batman and therefore take the series?
Probably like 4 of your jokes in a row.
I mean, I was building up for it.
Love it.
But anyway, for now, it's a very similar opener, very standard opener actually coming out of both sides. Bailey Nest on the way at about 36 supply. Third base on the way. A couple lanes getting pumped. The big difference, though, of course, is Serral's building a couple more. Cutting drones just a little. Well, he actually got ahead in drones a little bit, but it seems like he might be the preliminary aggressor here.
Yeah, not unlikely. Though, yeah, I mean, the early CVC, I think both players looking to be somewhat just safe with the number of links that they make. They'll have to reactively go for the matching number of links now, so as Wayne sees Serral moving out, a little bit slow on that Baneling morph, but he has one almost completed, and now has an additional 12 links in production, though I think he might have been supply blocked for a second there, because the next batch of links is a little bit late here. We'll see if Serral can exploit that, as now there are 3 Banes on the field, and with the 2 Queens here, Wayne should be just...
Yeah, he should be just fine. Now, Overlord forced back a little bit as these Banelings morphing in from Wayne are not going to get much done. Banelings coming from the natural from Serral, but good splits there from Wayne. Only loses 2, and it seems like Wayne's the one that really wants to get aggressive here. He's got, what's that, 4 Banes, 5th one on the way. Finding his way in. Oh, decent connections there. Oh, even better coming in from Wayne right now. And now there's really not, I mean, there are Queens, sure, and more Banelings on the way, but for the moment, Wayne is going to have his way outside of the 3rd base, but he wastes the Banes. Wayne wastes the Banes, and now he's got to back up.
Yeah, unfortunately, there was a timing there where I think he could have gone on top of the Queens, but maybe unaware of when exactly those Banes started morphing, so instead tries to go to apply pressure on the hatchery and kind of sacrifices Banelings for nothing just to zone out Zerglings, but a gross miscalculation. As we can see, he was never going to get the hatchery. It wasn't even close.
No, but he will get this Queen.
Nice.
That's very nice.
Very nice. But yeah, I mean, those Banelings died for nothing, unfortunately, for Wayne, whereas if he took a little bit of a risk, of a gamble, maybe he could have gotten like 2 or 3 Queens while zoning with the Banelings.
Okay, so that Baneling doesn't get much. Serral does a good job baiting out as Wayne finds his way into the natural. And man, when we talk about Serral, one of the things we talk about is just how good his scouting is. He's always going to have lings in your main, in his natural. He is going to have a solid understanding of what you're doing, and theoretically, he's going to counter it perfectly. But Wayne is actually doing a really good job here of getting lings into the natural, into the main base. He knows exactly what the lair timing is. He knows kind of how many drones are at the 3rd. And Yeah, he's sending a couple Baneleys forward, but this is going to be a trade 2 for 2, so really kind of an even trade right there. His Lings, they shouldn't get that much more. But he does have quicker upgrades, right? His +1 range is just a little bit faster. He's got a couple of roaches on the map. Actually moving forward a little bit aggressively, but behind this, you know, he's got his lair on the way, and he's been droning up a little bit. He's doing a good job of feigning pressure, I guess, and expanding behind it.
Yeah, it's very nice because he's playing to his reputation as well, right? Like I called him earlier one of the most Korean-like Zergs in Europe, and I think he's built his reputation on aggression, right? Like those very early timings, very many all-ins, like on the back of Roach Ravager or just Roach, whatever. So to do this is very clever of him because it'll net him an economic lead against a Serral that isn't careful. Serral, however, has done a very good job of adapting here, and you know, this has been kind of like the way to beat Serral for many of these players. Is like to confuse him, right? To feed him the wrong information, knowing that he's so good at scouting. And that is kind of, I think, what Wayne was trying to do, but Serral has been relentless with his own scouting and drops his fire faster than Wayne, so he felt comfortable on defense. You know, identified that it wasn't going to be all-out aggression from Wayne pretty quickly here, and he's not even falling behind at all in the worker count.
Yeah, the question, though, is now as we have Spires, halfway done, a little bit more there for Serral on the map. How much do these players commit to it? Zergling finds his way in. Scout into the natural is going to see the Spire, so there's a bit of information.
On the other side, let's see if he can get the informational trade. He will get the Spire. That's very nice. Now the decisions are weird, because if you're Serral, you probably want to make Muta ASAP. If you're Wayne, you probably want to anticipate Muta and maybe go into Corruptors, knowing that yours are a little bit later. But yeah, I mean, neither player might start any Muta right now as Wayne is moving out. And he will show a strong presence out on the map, right? And he's kind of saying, hey, I could punish you with this. And Wayne is anticipating the Muta and going for the Corruptors that I talked about. Unfortunately for him, Serral's not made any Muta. Yeah, so he gets the better end of the mind games.
Serral's going Corruptors too. Oh, you love to see it. And by the way, Wayne had +2 range on the way he canceled it. So he is going very all in off of this one, at least from a tech perspective. He keeps the 4th base alive. And now we look at the Roach count, right? It's 34 to 31. Serral has that defender's advantage. And with Corruptors just fighting... Oh, Wayne is really committing to this anti-Muta play. He's got Hydra Den on the way. With these Corruptors out, I guess the play right now, right? You just try to knock down all the Overseer or the Overlords on the map. So you supply block Serral a little bit. And then I guess Wayne just wants to go into... He's going to have to go into Lurkers behind this. Hydras by themselves won't do all that much, but he is getting Hydra Groove Spines. He's got +2 attack on the way. But by canceling +2 and trying to go for this all-in that is just... He has the wrong tech for it. Serral has pulled himself into a massive lead this game.
Has he? I mean... Because, I mean, the Hydras are fine, right? Like, they're not as good as Ravagers in close situations, but look at Wayne. Like, he's very strong here on the ground right now, and Serral was actually producing Corruptors, and this looks good to me on the side of Wayne right now. He has a ton of Roaches, almost bailing his own, but not quite. And yeah, he's doing fantastic here. Might even be able to break Serral, who has a lot of reinforcements, 13 Roaches on the way, but not here yet. And Wayne is trying to segregate groups of Roaches to take isolated fights with more numbers. Serral has finally managed to group up all of his Roaches, but here come the reinforcements from Wayne. It's one Hydra, not a heavy overcommitment on that, and the rest of the Roaches now trickling in. A very close engagement here, but Wayne seems to be getting the better of it.
He really does. He had the timing right before +2 was done, right as Roaches were on the way. So Serral, you give him a little bit more time. Probably in a pretty solid spot, right? Those upgrade leads. But Wayne hits right before that happens, and now with just the reinforcements, even on a map like Grespon, that it takes so long to get across, yeah, he's going to get the 3rd base. Those Corruptors working really nicely. And Wayne, I mean, the mind games, right? Just hitting those timings as he needed to. Serral is going to, even if he forces this army back, it's a dead base, it's dead drones. And I don't even know that he's going to force him back here anymore. It's 96 army supply to 44, and there we go.
GG.
Wayne's up 1.
They say.
There we go.
They gonna beat little Wayne. Now he can say that with confidence.
There we go. He's got his tights on. He doesn't have the mask on yet, but he's in his changing room, turning into Batman.
Yeah. Very interesting game as well, because yeah, Wayne has those Corruptors, right? And like you were saying, like the right play is go around and kill Overlords. And then Serral finds himself in actually a really weird situation where you don't want to make corruptors to fight corruptors, but at the same time, you don't have access to that Hydra then, or enough anti-air in the form of queens. So what if the corruptors just cross the map and start killing overlords and puking on your hatcheries? You actually need to make corruptors to match those corruptors. And he chose the worst possible time for it, right? But it was a fair time to choose because Wayne was pushing out with his corruptors, which were in greater numbers than Serral. So Serral caught with his pants down, and Wayne that ends up being over aggressive, but like 3 minutes later than we would have anticipated otherwise. Beautiful moves.
Although, Cats, if you're worried about corruptors, okay, you just kind of I guess you keep them under the queens. That's fine there. But if you're worried about them puking on your hatcheries, wouldn't you just want a couple Ravagers? You buy that down, you force them to cancel. And then wouldn't you rather have a significant number of Ravagers in the fight anyways? If your opponent builds 8 Corruptors, that's 16 supply of Roaches that they won't have. So at least in my read on this, it almost seems like it just makes more sense to give them that air control because, again, okay, they're going to get some of your Overlords. Your Queens can defend that. You maybe drop a Spore or something that can kind of handle that for the most part. And then your army will just be bigger and more powerful. Maybe. I don't know. What I do know.
Yeah, I mean, if you completely skip the Corruptors, your army should be more powerful on the ground on paper, right? Like that much is true for sure. But are the Corruptors like easily, responded to with Ravagers? I really don't think so. Because they're naturally spreading out. Like how many Biles would you need per Corruptor? And how many Biles at the same time on multiple locations would you need to just dislodge them out of that situation, right?
Yeah,
and then you have to have that gas available, which Serral didn't, right? Like he didn't have just 2,000 gas laying around to account for Corruptors with Ravagers. So yeah, I don't think it's and on top of that, what if the Corruptors just siege on top of your hatchery? Do you build your own hatchery? Because that doesn't work either, right? So yeah, I mean, Spores are an option, but that feels equally bad, if not worse, because you don't get anything from it.
That's very fair. So let's see what mind games Wayne has in store for us. What insanity and madness as we move into Dragon Scales for map 2. And on the bottom right, he's up 1 here for Starcom. Is he about to not drop a single map here in the ESL Masters Swiss stage? It's Wayne.
Now, who they say they're gonna beat him? Not working out so far for Basilisk. It is Serral.
So what do you want to see from Serral now? I mean, that was a weird game, and I can't help but wonder. So Wayne hit that timing as Serral was a little bit out of position as he was building those Corruptors. He had that dead supply. And I feel like Wayne could have hit that with +2 as well. I don't feel like canceling his attack upgrade. I mean, I understand the idea, right? You run across the map, your opponent is committing into mutas, you get a lot of Roaches, you get your Corruptors, you just go kill Serral. But imagine if, that timing hits even harder. So Wayne played, again, he played very well. Maybe he doesn't do that. I was about to ask what we want to see out of him in this game too, but look at this. It's a Speedling all in. +1 attack on the way before speed. When was the last time you saw this?
You're asking the wrong person because I do love Speedling before speed myself, so it would have been like yesterday probably.
When was the last time you saw this in a pro game?
I mean, not very often, but it's been known to happen. Raynor does like, or did like melee into lurkers, maybe like a year or so ago. But I mean, I think it's pretty cool, right? Like the nice thing about speed into melee or melee into speed, like off of a single gas, is that it lines up perfectly. Just with 3 workers mining, you drop the Evo chamber at like 30 gas. When you have 30 gas, that is. By the time the Evo chamber finishes, you have around exactly 100 gas. And by the time you start your link speed, right, the next set of 100 gas, it finishes up to where it lines up pretty much perfectly with the melee upgrade. So it is a really nice timing. It doesn't even have to be all in here, but it's gonna be in the case of Wayne. He's looking to bamboozle Serral for sure, and let's see if he's gonna be able to.
So here's my question though: why is he still mining gas? Is he gonna get a couple Roaches? As we do seem to have.
I mean, yeah, you're cutting out.
Are we good?
Better now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so what do you think he's going for? I mean, he's pumping Lings, obviously, but is this like a +1 speed Ling, Queen Ling Nidus? Is that the
You cut
play?
out again. Well, I think he's gonna go Muta, personally, because I basically do this exact same style, only off of 3 hatcheries with a hatchery on the wall, but I do the exact same sequence. You have a little bit more larva to work with in that situation, but I think Aspire is the most sensible thing that you can go for from this situation, because you'll get map control from the Lings, and the Lings are going to be trading very efficiently, and then you have the extra gas that you're going to be floating, and we see him go up to 4 gases. He could already have dropped the Spire, but it's going to be preoccupied here at the front, as Serral didn't have any Banelings, unfortunately for him, so again, a good read here from Wayne, but he has fallen behind in supply. There's the Spire, and he is 6 workers behind as well. But if Serral doesn't look to punish this, when the Muta are out, Wayne will regain control of the game. So Serral needs to do something.
Yeah, certainly. And Serral actually canceled the Baneling nest. He had it on the way for a little bit, but no Banelings arrived at the Baneling time. No Lings did, so he thought he was okay. He really thought this was some sort of gasless thing, some sort of roach timing, and that is absolutely not what it was. Although he does get a queen. You know, that is going to be very nice here, but he's going up to lair cats. He is not going for that big sort of roach counter. I mean, he is building more roaches, so actually, you know what? Never mind. He is. It does look like he's going for some sort of counterattack, but I wonder at this point whether that's just gonna come out in time.
I wouldn't think so, but if Wayne continues to just waste units on the other side of the map, the threat of a counterattack is much worse. So what he has to do is hide the Lings somewhere on the side of the map, like he's doing right now, with looking to not reveal them to any overlords of Serral. Because once they're revealed, they can be hunted down, right? And you know where they're coming and you know the number. He will find a drone or 2 though, which is very nice. Also gets a drone count on the 3rd. But this Link's job is to be a threat out on the map primarily, so that Serral can't have an easy decision to move out. And Serral has just now started the roach speed, so even though the supply is heavily in favor of Serral, Wayne will regain control of this game, or at least to get some map control going with his Muta, and will be able to drone up his 3rd as a result, where Serral, maybe if he goes into tunneling claws right away, will be his next real window of opportunity here, unless he wants to gamble and you know, just push on the gas pedal on the roaches, which is not very Serral-like.
And by the way, it should be noted here that the first time that Serral saw that this was Muta's, okay, yes, it was a +1 melee opener, 3rd base was delayed, and those are pretty significant tells that this is likely going to be some sort of Muta play. But he did not see the Spire timing, he did not see the lair timing, he did not see the Spire timing, and he was not able to count the gases. So the first confirmation that this is in fact Muta play was pretty much as the Mutas were popping. But Serral is quick in the response. So we got an infestation pit on the way. How many queens does he have? He's on 6. We got spores and mineral lines. So now the question is how much oh, that's a queen, a little bit exposed. Wayne will gladly take that one. Because the entire point of, at least the style right now, right? You want to snowball. You want to develop your economies. Lings go for the counterattack. They don't find much. You want to kill the economy of Serral a little bit. And if you can wipe down all the queens, well, it becomes much more difficult for Serral to buy that time to get on into the infestation pit and the hive and everything else. And these queens cannot fight these Mutas here. Serral, the queens are out of position.
Yeah, I mean, Serral is confident there that he can probably hold with the number of queens that he has, because it's, I mean, on paper, it's a pretty expensive trade for Wayne, but Wayne knows that he has more Muta on the way as well, and takes a beautiful trade there against the queens, targeting the one that was exposed, which luckily for him was the one that had the most energy as well, right? So that offers a unique opportunity, because one transfuse, keeping a queen alive for longer, is huge, as Wayne commits onto 2 spores, sacrifices all of his Lings in the process, but identifying that he has killed enough queens, now Serral's only move is to push on the other side with the roaches and see how much damage he can get done. Probably can kill the 3rd of Wayne if Wayne doesn't kind of back right away, which he didn't. But yeah, Wayne is going to have an opportunity of counter-attacking with these Lings as well. Now, Serral identifying that there's Lings living the natural, he will instead go for the Jugular, which is the, I think, more sensible move. A champion's brain here on the side of Serral. I mean, the 3rd was the easy one to take down, but the natural, it's so much juicier. 11 workers have already fallen, and the next set of Lings trickling down might be able to stop this, but not, I mean, it's been too much damage already, and Wayne unable to find anything with the Lings on the other side.
And the big thing here is Wayne was very all in on this idea. He was not droning up behind this. Oh, that Link counterattack is going to be very nice. But he wasn't droning up behind this, right? He wasn't going and taking a fourth base and playing kind of the macro Ling Muta style. He was trying to establish map control to kill the queens and end the game. And as such, losing 23 drones is not, oh, I was at 60, now I'm at 40. It's a frustrating, but it's not the end of the world. Instead, it's, no, I was at 40, now I'm at 20, and my economy is absolutely shut. But Muta's get on top of the queens once again, and they're going to get the high energy ones. Okay, Investor, Fungal, it doesn't have the energy, not just yet. So Wayne splits, runs back, Spore into the natural here, but this is going to get targeted down really before it pops. And Serral's got to go on the counterattack again. His army at home cannot hold. This is a dead natural. And Cats,
20 links.
This game's looking weird.
Yeah, 20 links on the way for Wayne. So this time around, he'll be much better prepared. And with this economic damage on the other side, I don't feel like he'll be going for a counterattack, but just rather inviting the roaches potentially into his natural and trying to hold there, or even engaging at the third once he feels like he has enough. So Serral's roaches are not going to be able to accomplish much on the other side. Whereas Wayne, with his Muta, he can continue to kill reinforcements. Serral is bamboozled right now. He's making more roaches. I don't know. I don't think that's the play. There is no tunneling clause whatsoever. Probably better to drop a Hydra than or something of the likes, as now he does. But that is a little bit late of a decision, because, again, these roaches from Serral, kind of useless.
Cats, he had a Hydra and it was killed. It was in the third. The infestation pit down as well. And now Serral's got 7 queens, right? That's something. And he's got 2 infestors. And that is really what he's going to have to rely on here. But the Mutas have so much map control right now. They can poke in, they can kill a drone, they can back up, they can do it again. And look at Wayne. Okay, so Serral is going to be okay with this. Wayne was looking to poke into the third, force the army over, and go for there. But these roaches are a little bit exposed. And now here's the question. Infestors, oh, they're in the natural. There's nothing to pair up with them, not just yet. But Wayne doesn't see it, not just yet. Fungals, where are they? They're not ready. The queens. Oh, Wayne finds the infestors. One Fungal goes down, but that's just going to be about it. And there's nothing to pair them. Actually, 3 more queens find their way on over, but like 1 Muta died. And now it's 7 Hydras. That's going to have to be it, but there is no splash here. And these are +2 Hydras. They will be powerful if there is something to back them up, if the Lings don't just get on top of them and kill them off. Yeah,
that's just the thing. Up until Serral gathers enough energy to get like 2 Fungals on each Infestor, 2 Fungals is never going to be able to finish this Muta, and they're the fastest unit to regenerate HP on their own accord, right? Like, they're like Wolverine type shit. So I mean, they really just don't care about 2 Fungals, right? You need a very good amount of support to get rid of them during the 2 Fungals. And now Serral is crossing the map with some roaches. Wayne with the quick reactions, but also Serral targeting down the Evo Chamber right away. And Wayne found a little bit out of position. This game's getting chaotic once again in favor of the Finn.
It really is, and I wonder whether Wayne just got a little bit too greedy. He was at 47 drones before these roaches arrived, and he's going into 1-1 roach speed. He wants to take advantage of Serral's heavy anti-Muta play and just kill him with a bunch of speed roaches, which fair, I get it. But he committed so much to his economy, and when you're playing something like this, right, you're playing on your map control. And Serral getting, what was that, 15 roaches on the other side, 10 roaches on the other side, getting those 11 drones, not only do they get damage done, they force Wayne to give up his map control. Although, okay, Ling gets the Infestor. Fungal goes down, but now these Mutas, it's agency. That's what you're playing for. You're playing for the ability to play on the map. And now, I mean, the Lings, they get in their natural a little bit. Oh, they transfuse on the drone. It's so important at this point. But the Mutas have a lot more leeway now because they can play on the map, right? They don't have to worry about being caught and killed. But now Wayne, you know, he's moving on into roach play. We talked about this, although he canceled his upgrades. He wanted to be able to redevelop his economy again, and he's got 1-1 on the way for a second time. But now Serral's got 7 lurkers. I don't know. It's going to be really hard for Wayne to break this now.
Yeah, near impossible, right, with a ground army. So, yeah, Wayne is going to have to look for a different transition here. Serral is kind of taking the safe route out, where he's like, okay, my economy's either behind or you know, or we're about even. Nice move here from Wayne. This is the weakest location that Serral has right now. Maybe he can engage the queens before the Hydras arrive, but they're already hot on their tail. So
what Hydras?
Yeah,
there are 2 of them on the map right now.
Oh. That's so sad. 5 in production, but yeah, I mean, the queens are plentiful in numbers, and Serral set up a really nice perimeter. So yeah, the Mutas get map control, but they don't get much out of that map control, and Wayne, or Serral rather, will have the stronger army composition going into the later stages. So he evaluates and says, I have similar economy, but I may not be able to take a fourth as quickly as you can with your map control. So he just goes for that kind of slow turtle, let's advance the game slowly where I cannot be broken for a while type composition, and just try to outtrade Wayne and just kind of hold off until he feels like his army is of greater quality and nearby unstoppable, and then we might see him move up.
Man, I am so impressed with Serral this game. Actually, I'm impressed with both players, right? We saw Serral, he lost his natural. He had so much lacking momentum. He gets 10 roaches on the other side, swings the momentum back to even. I'm not going to say in favor, but back to even. And that bought him the time to get his lurkers out, to make it so this 1-1 roach swing that Wayne was thinking about going for. And Serral kind of scouted it too, by seeing the Roach Warren researching, seeing the Evo Chambers researching as well, that Serral's got himself a near unassailable position, but Wayne wants to break this. He's got a lot of Ravagers, and technically you can play like that, right? Just sit on the edge of the lurkers. When there is no hive and they do not have lurker range, you can just sit on the edge, drop biles, force him to reposition, and maybe swing in there. But even still, I mean, Serral has the better upgrades. It's 1-1 versus +2, and when we're talking about splash damage, and when we're talking about Roach versus Roach, you'd rather have those +2 attack upgrades.
Yeah, and he has enough of a buffer. This number of Roach Ravager is never going to kill the army that Serral has, not even close. So, I mean, if he catches all of the lurkers out of position, or all but maybe 1 or 2, then maybe there's the slightest chance that he can make something happen, but it is extremely unlikely. And we can see this kind of like turtley crawl towards your next expansion style that Serral is wanting to play here. I can't help but to feel personally that if Wayne was just a little bit cleaner on the execution, he should have had certain things that are... It's a very tall order, and it's a very hard ask, because obviously Wayne is here and he's in a very good spot. So, he's one of the best Zergs in Europe and quite possibly the world. And that means, you can't ask everything of every player. And when you are that good on aggression, there's going to be some missing ingredients there, right? And the main one for me this game was just Overlord vision and perimeter out on the map. Like, he took control of the map with the Muta, but he never had Overlords giving him enough of a heads up for when Serral actually moved out with those roaches, and that set him in a terrible position that should never happen. And to Wayne's credit, like, he didn't expect it, just like this Nidus is completely unexpected. And lurkers in chokes, Serral's gonna walk him to the choke indeed, are nearby this, impossible to displace without losing a bunch of units.
I mean, 2 lurkers do unburrow. That's a little bit more of an opportunity. The biles are well placed. Vipers are out, but they're not ready yet. Wayne just needs to buy time for his Mutas to return. There's no anti-air here. Mutas, well, actually, here come the Queens. Never mind. That's what you're looking for. 1 lurker will go down. Wayne tries to find his way up, and the lurkers, they're going to get transfused. There are still 2 here, and the concave, it's just not there. Final lurker finally goes down, but more cats are here, and the main base.
Vipers now.
There we go. There's the abduct. The lurkers will go down, and Wayne, he lost 5 drones, and he's going to get a bunch of these Queens on the retreat. That's really not all that bad, but yeah, the second lurker den. This time the Hydras are here as well, so the Mutas can't just sit on top. And Serral is he is storming back here.
Yeah, looking very, very good for Serral here, as the abducts are trying to make something happen. Now Wayne should have enough army, especially with Blinding Clouds, but not before losing his 4th base. He has already decided to take the forward 4th base, and he does have a ton of Vipers, right? So he has sort of an opening there. But the longer this game goes, as Serral begins to add his own Vipers to a Hydra Lurker mix, that is going to be the ideal composition, scaling later into the game. So this is all just gravy for Serral to do that much damage on the other side. And yeah, I mean, Wayne's still looking to kind of all in this mid game.
Yeah,
Let's see if he can make it work.
Yeah, the Vipers are going to have to run across, but he's got a 30 army supply lead here, Cats, and it's only 9 lurkers, and I say only because Serral had about 15 before then. If these lurkers can go forward, if they can break this position here, and there's the 1, abduct on the first one, abduct on the second. Spore's not going to get the damage they want, not just yet. Massive blinding cloud, but even still the lurker abducts they continue to be good. Lurkers continue to move forward here. Blinding cloud on the lurkers on the backside. Biles are not going to land, not just yet, and Wayne cannot push through. If there was an opportunity, it was right there.
Yeah, I can't help but to feel that, well, like Wayne didn't have enough energy on all of the Vipers for all the abducts and blinding clouds so I think maybe delaying the attack a little bit, just a few seconds in order to get that would have been good. Serral also did a really good job of identifying that the attack was probably coming and adding those extra spores, because that's what's gonna zone off the Vipers of Wayne, and that's where Wayne had kind of like his advantage, right? But I also feel like maybe Wayne could have just biled the spores because there was a lot of separation between the spores and the lurkers. So if you use a little bit of that time while your Vipers are kind of gaining energy to see and get the defense to reposition a little bit or kill a spore or something, then all of those Vipers have A, more energy, and B, just an easier time kind of flying over less spores, right? Which are their timer. So I don't think that was as effective as it could have been, but a good effort from Wayne and a really cool game too. So
that was a people talk about how they don't like ZVZ because just roach wars back and forth. That was it. Sometimes we get games like that, and that was a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm with you. I didn't quite see how the Vipers didn't have quite as much energy as they could have. So really good call there. I wonder whether it would almost have been worth it. Obviously, you do want the energy on the Vipers, but if you really do feel like you need to go then or not at all, run some Overlords forward. Right? Just like something to soak the spore shots so you can get those abductions, so you can get those Vipers forward. But regardless, I mean, the fact that Wayne, is that close to this is game 3 is going to be fun.
Yeah, that would be cool if that worked. Do that every game, but the problem is the spores will attack the Viper as soon as it's in range.
That's true, yeah.
Overlords? Oh, not a great. Let me just attack the thing that's a threat. So StarCraft is kind of like StarCraft 2 is pretty automated like that. In Brood War, I think there's a little bit more room to maneuver where maybe the targeting isn't as good, but like the StarCraft basically says, okay, if there's a decision that's basically a non-decision, I'll make it for you, right? In terms of prioritizing stuff.
Yeah, I think the most recent one, didn't they change like Thor anti-air attack priority or something fairly recently? So it would
Cyclone, I think, maybe.
No,
did that not go through?
I think it was Thor's on Vipers. I think they changed it so Thor's would then target Vipers when they previously targeted Overlords. That was like the last one that would do that actually.
Over Vipers.
I think Thor's used to target something else over Vipers. This was like 2 years ago.
Probably not over. Yeah.
Yeah. I forget what it was, but anyway, they something. Jeez, if I could remember this, that'd be great. But something was changed, so that the I want to say it was the Thors that would target Vipers over something else. So they would.
It might be Muta or something like that, like Muta or some other like threatening our unit. But yeah, I mean, very because then it's like from a developer perspective, it's like, what's more valuable for the Thor to target, right? Is it the Mutalisk or is it the Viper? And it's not like a black and white solution.
Yeah.
But Overlord versus anything. It's like, well, not the Overlord, right? Yeah. So the one case used for what you're talking about, though, is against Widow Mines because they'll lock on and not change their lock on. So if you can run like Overseers right in front of your army and they get locked on with the Widow Mines, then, that's a good way to utilize Overlords or Overseers, really, because Overlords are too slow. They just die.
That's fair. And the other thing, of course, is carriers and interceptors had their priority change. So the army will target the carrier now instead of the interceptors, not vice versa. That was the most recent patch. What's also something is that we're going to get into game number 3 here. Can Wayne do it? Will Serral show his class? We're going to get into it. And in the bottom left, in the red, the hearts and minds of many, many people pulling for him. It's Wayne.
Wayne Enterprise.
Exactly.
And in the top right-hand side for Basilisk, he say he gonna beat Lil Wayne. It's Serral. He say.
He did say that last game.
Did he? I guess he made the statement with it.
Yeah. Actions speak louder than words, cats.
True. What does that say about our career?
That our actions are our words. And they both speak equally loud.
All right. Here we go. I mean, pretty standard here. This Overlord's being left and natural, kind of like semi-recent development due to Serral himself.
Yeah.
Because he was doing the proxy spine right out of vision. So that's what that Overlord staying in the natural is meant to account for. Being overly safe. Because if you don't do that, it can be just...
Yeah. Although I am so glad that they made the change that or that hatcheries now have a vision radius that is exactly as wide as their creep is, so you can no longer, drop a spine in the main right outside of creep, right outside of vision, and it just, became obnoxious. It was just a little bit of cheese that maybe shouldn't have existed. So now that we do have that, sorry,
I like that kind of cheese.
I know you also invented the proxy spore to kill the first overlord, so like
the class. But what Serral was doing was the spine, like proxy hatch, then cancel, then make a spine. So the morphing hatchery doesn't have that range of vision.
Yeah,
it has almost no.
Now, as we look at how this game is starting, I really do like how Wayne is just playing, again, very standard. I think he had many opportunities to win game number 2, and probably if he just pumped Lings out of that, actually, he might have been able to break through off the initial +1 Ling timing. But regardless, he's got to feel so confident in this series right now. He took down Serral straight up in game 1. Game 2, he had so many opportunities that I can't imagine he feels any sort of pressure to do something weird, to go for a carapace timing or something else and try to prevent Serral from getting to the late game, because I think he showed a tremendous acumen. And if he's looking at himself right there, he's like, yeah, I let a Nidus into the main. That's unfortunate, and I wish I'd seen it. But other than that, I was in a great spot that entire game.
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest things were, Serral was unexpectedly making roaches, so it's difficult to blame Wayne for not reacting to the roaches that, in my opinion, were very, it's a very difficult decision to make roaches that shouldn't accomplish anything, because your opponent should spot him leaving, right? And then you have enough muta to just kite him to death on the way to you. So it's difficult to anticipate that they will be useful for Serral, but he does find the opening to make that happen. So I think Wayne could have had better Overlord coverage to give him the heads up. And in the first, I think, run by of the roaches, when he chooses to go over and kill the Overlords, I feel like there was a decision to be made between killing 2 or 3 Overlords or backing away faster to kill roaches and mitigate for damage. And I can't help but to feel that pulling back a little bit faster might have been better in that situation, because he didn't have the units to respond. Whereas the second time around, he was kind of ready to absorb, right? So, but yeah, I mean, Wayne has played a phenomenal series here. Needless to say, Serral always plays amazing, so they've offered us a couple of bangers to start.
I want to talk about what Wayne is doing in this game number 3, as Serral does scout the roaches popping out. That's a massive scout here. So Wayne looked like he was droning his third. He was pulling workers from the natural, that's only 10 out of 16, on over to the third base. But this is not a standard game. This is not a macro game. There is nothing on this Evo chamber. Wayne is going for a Roach Ling Bane bust here, trying to catch Serral off guard. He's up 8 army supply. He's got a couple more roaches. In fact, Serral only has 5 on the map right now, but he is reacting. He did have the time as the Banelings are going to look for the connection. Trades just a little bit, but most of the Lings, they've gone down. And now here, cats, it's roaches versus roaches. Queens here on the front. And the more Banelings, they're going to find their way in. They're going to invalidate the rest of these Lings. But Defender's advantage, you got to figure. It seems like it's really working out for Serral right now.
Yeah, Serral read this like a book. I mean, he only made an extra 9 workers. The only thing that could tilt this in Wayne's favor is the fact that the Queens are all out here fighting and not injecting, right? So Serral has 5-6 larvae remaining. If the trades continue to be even for long enough, then a possibility opens up for Wayne. But up until then, I mean, if Serral can just hold this as comfortably as he has been, it should be that, it should be game over, series over, and doesn't look like Wayne is gonna be able to keep up the foot on the gas pedal. So he's just going back to droning now. Yeah,
Wayne gave up on it, and man, we talked about this in game 1. Serral's tremendous ability to scout things out. He had a half-dead Ling that looked at the natural, that saw, okay, no Evo chamber, and he saw the roaches popping out. That by itself was, and we saw him immediately pump roaches. We saw him pump Lings. We saw him build defensive units, pull back into the natural, build Banes. That half health of a Ling is the difference between Wayne pushing in and Serral not being ready, or at least being ready a little bit later, and Serral being absolutely as ready as he was.
Wayne just got so lucky too, because Serral has enough roaches to absorb this counterattack of Lings, and he fake pushed out through the side, and Wayne just didn't react. And he couldn't really react. So it would have been, if Serral just continued to push, it would have been something like 15 roaches or so against 3 roaches with 4 more popping up and a Ravager. right? So Serral would have just been able to close out the game, or at the very least force out a lot more units earlier and do some damage, but not the case. And the good news for Wayne is that he gets away with murder, because right before then he had droned up like a madman, taking a massive risk that Serral wouldn't move out. So I mean, he must have been sweating cold when he sees Serral moving out, but Serral doesn't commit to the move out. So
yeah, and now Serral, I don't think he can move out anymore, right? Okay, first of all, kill the changeling, but at this point, army supplies are equal, upgrades are well timed the same way, Roche speed the same thing, layers, I mean, everything is going pretty much the way Wayne would like to bring himself back into this game. The only thing he's slightly behind on a little bit, right? His carapace slightly slower, and Serral has brought himself up back up to 66 workers and fully saturated. But the fact that Wayne was able to get away with that he droned so hard and Serral didn't punish, I mean, at this point, Wayne did lose more. He committed to he not only lost more resources, but he committed to the timing that slowed him down. But he's kind of macroed his way back into this game.
for sure, this is playable. I mean, he again took a massive risk, kind of hoping that these links would keep Serral back at home, right? And for the most part, they did, kind of, just not in the way that I would have expected, because Serral made so many units. Indeed, these links, if they can find a cancel on the fourth, that would be massive, as Wayne now will get a potential economic lead leading into the later stages of the game. Serral does have those extra 4 workers for the time being, working in his favor. But yeah, very little timing to exploit. The good thing for Serral is his advantage has netted him all of the luxuries that Wayne doesn't have. The potential for the burrow and the tunneling claws used in conjunction for roaches, this extra 4 ravagers early to clear overlords, and the overlord speed, which will allow his overlords to patrol out on the map and give him map control, right? So it's in these little advantages that Serral is going to have the option to just make better decisions with better information and have the potential for backstab, have the potential to outplay Wayne, whereas Wayne is, you know, like, he can still win this. He will have comparable armies, but he has to be on top of everything and work with a little bit less information than Serral. So it's a tough spot.
And the thing that I'm particularly worried about right now is the timing that's going to be in about maybe 30 seconds. When Serral runs across the map, he's got this big army, and then he just puts 3 roaches in Wayne's natural. Oh, if fight goes off here, Biles will not really land. And on the left side as well, Serral rebuffed, so, you know, Wayne does a good job on the first push. And here's the big deal. He's going to see the fact that Roach Burrow is done when the roaches are on the map, and the Bile lands. Maybe Wayne didn't want that, but he's going to see Roach Bile done when Bile, or Speed, or Burrow when it's on the map, so he doesn't really... He's going to be better prepared to defend this, but the roaches, they sneak around anyways. And now, ooh, big Biles there, but Wayne, he's kind of committed here. Roaches are on his third base, but I think he's got a little bit more at the front, backs up. Right, well, okay, Rainer, or excuse me, Serral runs forward. Biles, they get a Ravager. And actually, okay, Roaches in the main, but that first push on the third didn't really get that much done.
Yeah, and look, this is the luxuries that Serral has to work with. Only 1 overseer chasing around these roaches, and now Serral's gonna pounce on this opportunity. But he has to be careful, as Wayne has more Ravagers, but they're not kind of like in the best position possible, with some roaches tucked in behind them. So Serral continuing to do good, but Wayne still has one big fight that he can take, and that he can still, like, win the game, right? Like, this is all very nice for Serral, and he gets map control with it, and he gets to, you know, like, push his lead a little bit further. But there is that supply cap that is always going to be favorable for the player that's behind, right? Because otherwise the player that's ahead would continue to scale infinitely.
That is true, and Wayne is not rebuilding drones here. It's all in the roach count. As the okay, Serral tries to get on top of the third base, and that's DPS lost, right? Roaches can go kill, but 15 dead drones, dead third. Roaches are getting stuff there, but Wayne on the counterattack. He's got more here, and Serral finds himself a little bit sandwiched, so into the natural. He's going to get the Roach Warren, and yes, Serral, you got a massive bank, but you can't build roaches. All the drones burrow up on the right side, and Wayne's building a massive surround here, getting ready to move in from multiple angles. Wayne, can you do it here, friend? For now, the Biles, they're going to force him back, but he's winning the fight on the right side, and he's going to try to win the fight on the front side here as well. Biles go down, forces Serral back, and the roaches on the right side, they're not really doing what they need just yet.
Who they say?
Oh, man. Is this going to do it here? The reinforcements from his supply is so much higher. 11 Hydras on the way. He had that tech transition. And the Roach snipe, the Roach Warren snipe, it doesn't seem like it's going to do enough.
No, I mean, Serral started that next Roach Warren, and I think before his first one started getting attacked, right? Like, he just says, oh, what's your best move? It's to go for the Roach Warren. I'm just gonna start building another one. And with the economic damage that he had done on the other side, he feels confident to pull his drones. And even if he loses every one of those drones, he still wins the